Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.
Welcome, welcome. I think we're having a little issues, technical issues on a few platforms. I hope you guys having a great day. Bear with me. I'm just doing some checking. Something not right. Okay. So let me just remove some stuff off of my live. I think something's not right. Bear with me. We're going to have a great conversation today. Nothing's going to stop us. We're going to continue to talk about all of these scams that's going on. I found some good information. I got the serious face on, guys. I'm working here. All right. It's not letting me delete it off of one more place. Trying to get it together here. All right, let's do it. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. I am. I'm claiming it if I'm not. And you know what they say? Fake it till you make it because God is good. So today we're going to be continue to talk about scams. Last week we talked about just general scams as far as internet, emails, phones. We went into a lot of it. Cash App. We learned about Cash App scams. That was like little impressive. It gets you addictive, the addictive sides of it. And I didn't talk about the love scams, but that's something I want to talk about one day because there are a lot of love scams that happen. They are predatory on women. But today, what we're going to be talking about is predatory contracts. Now, I was going to do I may do a formal one with PowerPoints later on in a couple of weeks, but today we're just going to talk about it. I found some great resources, as I always do, and I love to share with you. But this was a fraud and unfairness agreement platform. And this one is it focused on Florida, but I found it interesting because these young ladies were saying some of the things that I was saying as far as what to look out for, and they also highlight some other things. Now, this is out of just contract, but we want you to be aware of all types of schemes at this point because you know they still do the door-to-door thing. And since I've been in Georgia, I have not experienced the scheme, but people coming to your door, knocking on your door, trying to sell you things. So I wanted to share this one with you. These two young ladies talking about some of the frauds that happens in Florida. Is it mute?
Hi, I'm Jody Pena Castaldi with Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida. And today with me, I have Managing Attorney of Older Adult Programs, Lizzie Johnson.
Ooh.
Hi, Lizzie. How are you?
I am great. And how are you today?
I am just fine. So I was hoping today that we could talk a little bit about scams because I feel like not only is it hurricane season here in Florida, and my phone rings off the hook after a bad storm with people trying to get up on my roof to check for damages. But there's just a lot going on with the pandemic and people just trying to take advantage of the unfortunate situation we are seeing.
So I want to highlight some of the things she talks about is the door-to-door knocking, but this is also related to real estate investors. You may receive a letter at your home and say, hey, we were inspecting your gutters and we happen to see this and you're not there, so you want to be aware of that because they take advantage of people on that nature, as well as what she's going to be talking about with roofs and things like that.
See ourselves in right now. So what can you tell me about scams? Like, how should I stay alert? What should I be alert of?
Scams has been around since the beginning of time. Unfortunately,
Right.
people have come up with ways on how not to go to work. Maybe this is their full-time job, is to sit at home and think of ways to scam people out of their hard-earned money. And typically when you see a disaster, such as whether it's from a hurricane or the pandemic with coronavirus, a lot of scams, some of them are just refurbished old scams that has always been around.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of tips I always recommend is if you're not expecting anyone at your door, don't answer it. If you didn't invite anyone to your house, don't answer the door. Often you still see people going from house to house doing home solicitation scams, such as they may be using young people to sell magazines door to door, where the young children will say, hey, I'm selling this for school or some fundraiser. It may be true and it may not be. Another thing you see a lot of times door to door, which surprises me, still happens. People are still going door to door selling things like vacuum cleaners. They're going door to door selling knives or different little household goods. Don't answer the door. A lot of times it's a scam. Another thing I see a lot, especially in the summertime or right after a major storm, tornado, is people going door to door saying, hey, I'm a roofer and I'm in your neighborhood and I'm fixing your neighbor's roof. And I can give you a deal. Really, you're going to give me a deal? Because the last time I checked, I believe that in order to repair my roof, 1, I need to have a roof problem. 2, you need to have a permit. So how are you going to fix my roof today with no permit?
That's some of the things you want to know, you see. But if you don't know better that it's certain processes or steps to get things done as a homeowner, you may be scammed. And that's why we do a lot of detail orientated talks like this on Primetime Homebuyer Secure Your Energy, because we want you guys to be aware of this. So if someone comes to you and be like, hey, I can fix your roof today, we'll get them started tomorrow, and you just put $5,000 down. And if you don't read the contract says they have up to 3 months to start, 6 months to start the job, and you don't see this little clause, because that's some of the things we're going to talk about, then you end up in a bad situation. There's also other schemes. I'm just going to stop right there because I want her to get to that part. There's also other schemes where some of these contractors will do that specifically to you, where it will delay the contract from being started. And then some of them have a hidden clause to be able to end the contract. And that ended up happening most recently. I think I showed that to you guys, where basically the homeowner, they sold their home. So they took the equity from their old home and they put it into a home that they wanted to build for themselves. Okay. But within the contract, what they end up having in the contract, and they did not know, was a clause that if basically in all terms, if a better deal came up for the contractor related to this property, that they can basically concede the contract and resell the property. Like if there's any change in the market value, things like that. Now, if you didn't read this and you don't understand, and they put it in there, even though it may seem predatory, and it can be legally binding. So what happened was I think this happened in the pandemic with these two, this couple. They were staying in the Airbnb, waiting for their home to get done. And they kept talking to the construction company, calling them, just trying to be on them. But things started to be delayed and blamed on COVID. Make a long story short, probably like a year and a half into the construction, which was not being constructed, they conceded on the contract and resold the property. And the people literally is trying to sue them now, but have to spend more money that they don't have, lost their, potential for a home, and have to build all of this money back again. So this is the importance of reading and understanding predatory contracts. And that's why we talk about that, because there are a lot of predators out there, especially right now. And as we know, related to AI. Okay, AI is making it easy for everybody. So let's just start with a few terms. And one of the terms I want to start with is unconscionable contract. What is an unconscionable contract? An unconscionable contract has terms that may be one-sided. So let me give you a detailed breakdown. A unconscionable contract is a contract that is so very severely one-sided and unfair to one party that it is deemed unenforceable under law. So you want to understand the grounds for unconscionable contracts, because if you ever find yourself in this particular situation, you want to know where to go, where to reference, and how to move forward to get redemption or be redeemed. Okay. So unconscionability in a contract means that the contract is one that leaves one of the parties with no real meaningful choice, typically due to significant differences in bargaining power between the parties to the contract. So there can be other terms that's going to be addressed, that like elements of it, but just keep that in mind. One of the main characteristics of conscionable contracts is that one of the parties signed the contract in a situation that involves pressure, lack of information, or because they were misled. So those are three main terms that you want to keep in mind. Feeling pressure, lack of information, and just plain old being misled. But this is why you have to read the agreement yourself, okay? And definitely cross-reference and ask questions. Don't be afraid to make people a little bit uncomfortable, because you work through that, everybody gets the facts on the ground, and then everybody will be happy. Because, excuse me, once you sign a contract or the other party sign a contract, you guys are actually both liable for it, depending on the situation. But because if you have another person who may not have the means to defend themselves, this is when predatory contracts come in. And that's why we're talking about unconscionable contracts with you guys, to make sure that you know how to defend yourself. Okay. So if a lawsuit is filed and the court finds that the contract is unconscionable, the contract will typically be declared void. If the contract is declared void, there is no damage awarded to any specific party ordered, but instead the party will be released from the obligation of the contract. But if there are damages, okay, you can pursue them, but you may have to file or another claim related to that, okay, because you already won this one. So let's just keep that in mind. So a unconscionable contract also typically is an abusive contract. Abusive contracts are illegal or unfair to one party in the agreement. These types of contracts are voided under the law and not enforceable. So never be afraid if you feel like you have a predatory contract. You want to ask a lawyer, go on lawyer.com. They have a lot of free, or you can go to actually your local city sometimes have free paralegal depending on your county. So you want to look at that as well. Because I know in Newark, where I was living before, they'll have college students from Seton Hall University actually work downtown Newark to review peaceful cases, kind of give them an idea where to go. But that type of stuff. And it was free. It was good. It was really helpful. So what are the elements? Excuse me, my throat. As soon as I got online, I started acting up because I came on ready. I hope you guys are having a great Monday. So now, what is the elements of an unconscionable contract? So we already know the three bases of it, which is being pressured, lack of information, or being misled. Okay. The elements of an unconscionable contract can fall under undue influence. Okay. So that's fall under the pressure, duress, pressure. You know what duress, like sometimes when the cops pull you over, you feel you're in duress to sign that ticket. You don't want to sign it, but you're under duress because they say if you don't sign it, you're gonna be under arrest. Like that, Usually I'll just sign like I'm under duress, and I can talk to you guys. That's some of the things I learned from at least the secure party, at least how to indicate when you're under duress in the contract, which is UCC 1-308. And you can just put that there. And if you ever are liable for a document, like for instance, if I go into a facility and I didn't get trained properly and they'd be like, hey, you just need to sign this, I'm not about to argue with you, okay? Because you be like, oh, she's belligerent. I'm like, okay. sign it. And I remember I had signed UCC 1-308, and the lady was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, that's just how I sign because, I don't know all the elements of the contract." I kept it real with her. She was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Ain't you a legal representative?" She was like, "Yeah, I was, because she's a legal representative. She was coming to get things notarized." So that's what I had signed on my mortgage agreements. Because I couldn't read them all. It was a big document. I was under duress. She was here talking about, yeah, you gotta sign this. So I'm like, I can't read this. What is this? What is this? So after I read it later, not what I needed to, but UCC-308, UCC 1-308. Okay. And that's basically indicating that you're under duress. You don't know the total terms of the contract, and help you indicate that it's kind of like predatory, like is under pressure. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. It's not legal information. This is just what I do. This is just how I learn. I've been okay. I had an agency too. One more thing. I had an agency. They were mad. Okay. So this is what happened. On the timesheet, we'll have to clock it at work, and then we'll have to submit the timesheet. This is contract, so I'm gonna be talking about it. And at the bottom of the contract, basically it says, like, after I put my time in, and they said if it was any errors or any issues, we could delay your pay, or we can hold or delay your pay. And I said, wait a minute, I gotta sign this every week because that's against the law. You can't hold them. She was like, so that's what I'm saying to myself. So what I did, I crossed out that little part. I put a SL, and then I put UCC-1308 at the bottom of my signature of the total document. Okay. And the first time I did that, they was like, oh no, you can't sign that paper like this. This was the agency I was working with. So understand the pressure they try to put on me. They did it for almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks. They was like, okay, the first time I submitted, you can't sign your paper like this, that, and that. I said, well, that's how I'm signing it. That's how I was taught. I'm not basically, I'm not going to give you the right to hold my money. That's against the law. Like, they told me basically stop crossing that out and doing that. I was like, no, like, why would I do that? You can't tell me how to sign a contract. That's a contract. So then we hung up, and then again the next week I did, and they sent me a nasty text like, you have to stop doing that. We're not going to submit your payroll. I said, first and foremost, all of my time is right. That document is correct. You need to forward it to your lawyers and have your legal representative come and talk to me and tell me why I can't sign my paper like that. Why? The next day they said everything is fine. Your check will be processed. So I know I have used it, and that's what I'm telling you. See, that's why when it comes to this secure your energy, when it comes to the secure party creditor movement, I strayed away from that because people wasn't proving the facts. See, now I talked to you about one concept that they use, which is the UCC-1308, which is signing under duress. I proved it. I lived it. I read it. I understand it. So I just want you guys to understand that, okay? Just when people just tell you stuff, please don't just run with it because they end up put you in trouble, okay? So back to the elements of unconscionable contracts, okay? I know I went off to the left, but I like to always give y'all real life situations because I always be in something. Y'all just don't know. My life is like a roller coaster. Just take the wheel, just closing my eyes while we riding, okay? So unequaling bargaining power, for instance, like, okay, let me give you another instance. You're at work, and they want to write you up for something that you felt like you did not do, and you let them know, like, hey, I didn't do this, and the third, but they don't give you a chance to write a statement under what they're accusing you of, but then tell you to sign it. Like, when it comes to that, I will sign like something like, because I haven't received one, God willing, but I understand the process because my mother's HR and things like that. Oh yeah, I didn't receive it in nursing, but in my other jobs, before I was a nurse, I had to sign a few of those things. But I was like, I ain't signing that. That's not what happened. Can I write a statement? They were like, no. So if I can't write a statement, I'm not signing it. You can put it in my paperwork, whatever you want, but I'm not going to acquiesce to it. And then they should not fire you. They should not fire you. They may be uncomfortable with you, and you just act regular. Be like Lashley, come back like, hey, how you doing, guys? You want a cookie? They be like, what the hell? She just told us about ourselves real nice when she ain't doing when she doing it. And what's the law? And they come back like, y'all okay? baby. Yeah, let's move on. Move on forward. Okay, so next, unfair surprise. Now that's some of the things that I think example of that is basically these cell phone, contracts and things like that with a small print. I think a lot of them are unfair surprises in there, especially with the hidden fees. So you want to be aware of that. They're definitely doing a lot of that. So that can be an unconscionable contract if you can prove it. Be like, hey, I never knew. And where does I knew that basically if I use this amount of data, I'm gonna have to pay this amount of money. Now, if you have the means to go, contest that stuff, that's what I'm talking about. But that's just an example of having an unfair surprise or a limited warranty. Now, limited warranty, that's why if you can't write limited warranty in little. You usually, if you sign a document that has a warranty, it'll say limited warranty on the top, big, or it'll say warranty. So that is a sign of a more a real contract when it comes to warranty. If it's something little in fine print about warranty information, you may want to second guess signing that paper. So be aware of that. But under what we talk about, the unconscionable contracts, it falls under that. But if you don't know how to kind of contest it and write to the right officials about it, because sometimes you can write to the Better Business Bureau is just a mediation, as we talked about. But you can write to the Federal Trade Commission. And if you reference certain things in certain ways, and then you have a group of people who's literally doing the same thing, then that organization will most likely be audited by the Federal Trade Commission. Because what I have known, because they were talking about, oh, my lips so greasy. My lips just greasy. Nobody told me. Okay, what I have known is that when there's a certain amount of complaints every quarter, they say they get together, and the ones with the most complaints, they log in, like they hone in onto it. And that's how I was listening to one of these. It was a Black content creator that some of these scams going on in the Black community, and I was watching it, and that's how they got in wind of this Ponzi scheme, because people started to complain about it, because that Ponzi scheme was ridiculous. Any place that tell you don't tell nobody, secretly share the link, don't call it this, call it that, you may want to think about it. Okay, so what is an unconscionable contract compared to a illegal contract? Illegal. Okay, an unconscionable contract is different from an illegal contract. An illegal contract is a contract that is against the law, but the subject matter of the contract is legal. Unconscionable contract has those elements that I'm talking about. But you said a legal contract, it is against the law. Like the predatory contracts, when they had that the Dodd-Frank Act active and funding, it was illegal for these lenders to do certain predatory things, especially with buying and disclosure. So that's the example from different from unconscionable and illegal. Okay, because you don't want to be like, this is illegal to the Federal Trade. They're like, no, it's unconscionable. It's legal. So just keep that in mind. An unconscionable contract, on the other hand, may not be legal in terms of the subject matter, but is enforceable because of the circumstances in which the contract was entered into by the parties. It's predatory, so it may be legal, like the terms of it, of unconscionable, but it was like bullied, you was coerced, you was misinformed, you probably was a minor, things like that. Okay. So, what is a remedy for unconscionable contract? So, certain remedies definitely gonna have to probably bring suit, okay, to get the contract void. There are several different possible remedies to unconscionable contract. If the court, you probably gotta take it to court. If the court determines a contract is unconscionable, the court may do one of the following, which is voiding the contract, void part of the contract, or modify the contract, depending on what it is. I don't know. Maybe they think that the person didn't know that it was unconscionable, and the judge determined that, okay, we could fix it up to make all the parties okay. So the court may void the entire contract and treat it as though it never existed. All parties to the contract will be required to discharge their performance and repay any monies or any other benefits that were given to them in preparation for the contract. So just pretty much void and no, you give me my money back, I give you this back. So the court may also void part of the contract, but not the entire contract. In this case, the court will void the unconscionable terms of the contract. So if it's, let me give you like, unconscious, because if the person is bullied, you can't do that. The one-sidedness, let's say that, because that falls under unconscionable. And let's say the terms was grossly helping the phone company, and it made you upgrade your services every 90 days, and you didn't know you had to do that, and it charged you extra 50 cents, or things like that. You may get a court to be able to modify that type of stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, that's like a modification of partial modification of a contract. Okay, so the court may choose to uphold the entire contract but modify the terms of the contract that is unconscionable. The options allows the court to avoid an unconscionable result without being required to create a whole nother contract. So it depends on how big it is. Okay, so let's see. Now you gotta understand the unconscionable contract versus legal contract. See, that's something that many people don't talk about. How about that? I'm gonna put it in a form of PowerPoint for y'all and go over it on another, like, a couple of weeks, because y'all probably forget all about this. I'm gonna come back like a teacher, like unconscionable, conscionable, legal. Y'all gonna be like, Lashley. I'm like, you know this. I'm just like, that's what the nurses teacher used to tell me. I'm like, girl, I done read 100 pages last night. I'm delusional. You know this. And they all start laughing. I said, I won't get in trouble in nursing school, because I was like, you going to leave me alone. Okay. Anyway, let's get into 10 things you can do to avoid contractor fraud. So we kind of talked about contractor fraud a little bit, where I gave you the story of the couple. And that was terrible. Just imagine yourself being in that situation. So as tax lien and tax deed investors, real estate investors, if you're doing through foreclosures, whatever. My main thing, if you're going to watch me, I'm going to put some love in you. You got to be honorable, because whatever you do is going to come back to haunt you regardless. It's just the way life works. So step out on a good foot. Look forward to satisfying your client, and you're being satisfied too, meeting in the middle, because that one person that has a good relationship with you may refer you to somebody else if you have another property to sell. Maybe you want to build relationships also with the people that you're selling and buying from. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Then 10 things you can do to avoid contractor fraud. Now, one of the things you want to keep in mind is know the warning of bad business. Lateness, not returning phone calls, website looking, sometimes it look just too cheesy, no legal statement at the bottom of the website. Keep that in mind. Reputable business will not pressure you to make quick decisions as well. So they won't ask you to make a payment today, right now. Like it's not going to be like this tomorrow. It's the last time chance. Keep that in mind, that is kind of like a sign, like something not right. Don't pay full up front. Okay. Also, get some money up front, guys, on the opposite end, because I'm a business owner. My son is too. He's just like me. We're nice sometimes. Just too damn nice. So he make clothes. I'll be telling on him, y'all. And then sometimes he'll give somebody the clothes. They ain't put the damn down payment on them. And then we got to sit there and try to get this person to pay. I said, don't you do it one more time. You get a down payment. My daughter be like, again? But he bought something before. I'm like, no, don't give him a chance. It happens, and it's like a repeat client. And I had to tell his story, because he growing from it. We all grow from it. He's a good guy. And I'm like, don't trust people. You just us. Okay. And there are some of you that's just like that. Okay. So please, if you got a business, make sure you get half your money up front for whatever service you're giving, charge reasonable prices, and you don't pay the whole thing. Don't be no fool. I'm like, I'm not paying all of that. We're going to pay half, 10%. And then we're going to do the rest, okay? Get an estimate from at least 3 different contractors. Compare and contrast. I don't even got to tell you that. I had 4 or 5 agents call me. and tell me 4 or 5 different things. I don't care. And I'm like, another agent said there was this much, and then that agent start changing stuff. That's how you play the game. Don't be afraid. I know some people are uncomfortable with that because they don't want to make people uncomfortable. And then you have to do it in a way that you're not aggressive with it. Like, you're lying. You just a plain out lie. You can't do that. Well, you could, but it's gonna cause controversy. But you're like, wow, that sounds weird. They're like, what you mean? I'm like, well, the last person said this. Why is it so different? Isn't that just a little, They're like, well, it's this factor or that, Then they start talking out the side of their mouth. Then you be like, oh, here's a sign of fraud here. Okay, have a good day. All right. So next one is be cautious about signing a assignment of benefit. Now that's something that's very important to the people who is getting older as well. People who don't have people around. It's hard. So they meet younger people and the younger people kind of befriend them. This fall into predatory contracts too. So you want to talk to your friends, your family members too. You have some aunties that don't got no kids. They be like, oh, I met Shakisha from down the street. She always braiding my hair. Then she coming over there all the time. Oh, she cleaning my house. Oh, yeah, she going food shop. And then all of a sudden she living there. Then she get my social security checks. Things happen. I'm going to be honest. So if you want to be cautious about that, tell your family about signing a beneficiary, their rights over. Sometimes the people will say, I'm just going to be your authorized representative. Now, you want to have a specified authorized representative contract. Well, you'll say it's only for this amount of time, and it can be terminated at any time. You see what I'm saying? So you want to know the specifics, the dates, what it is, and when is the termination. Okay? If I teach you anything about contracts, okay, keep that in mind. The next one is getting a written contract. The contract should include every task and repair, everything that's going to happen as far as the materials that's going to be bought. And if it is going to be any adjustments on it, it's going to say adjustments may happen as per this. But usually contractors have all their materials priced. They have their vendors already. You want to hear somebody talking about, well, it's $5,000 for me to start, but then I got to go see where I got to find it. It depends. If you have specialty things, that's different. I know y'all be watching like, like what is it? Build a house and all of that stuff. And they'll give the $50,000 budget, and this person can just do all type of stuff. That's not real. That's not real. Okay. You can, if you feel like you want to be splurging like that and you trust the people, you trust everybody, but me, I'd be like, wait, where you get that material from? And then how much was all the other ones? And okay, let me find something for you too, because I was doing some research. Or if you have a real reputable company that's able to show you the different prices that they find, but then some will still show you the high end prices. And you'll be thinking you're getting a deal. So just keep that in mind. Do some of your own research. Be cautious of the written contracts. What's in the terms of it. Obtain the contracts, essential business information. When you're buying or you're selling, even when you someone's about to buy from you, like a private investor, it is nothing wrong with asking for a verification of funds. Okay, it's nothing wrong with it, because if the person has the funds and they're investors, they're like, oh, okay, I'll get my bank to give you a bank statement. They ready to spend. I've seen some people, I was like, hey, you got a lot of money in there. But I'm not giving them this. We're not doing business. But, I've seen a lot of people with little things. I'm like, okay, they verified these funds with a letter from their bank. So you want to get verifications of funds. You want to know a little bit skip tracing. What we do anyway is kind of like skip tracing buyback team, not just secure your energy. I know people are just watch for the information that we share on Mondays, but the buyback team as well. Basically, we do skip tracing. And when we're doing a soft title search, we're going back behind doing skip tracing on a real estate level, okay, where you're going and finding out information about the homeowner, the home, liens, IRS liens, bankruptcy. It's like skip tracing. You find out everything about that one person. But then here, this is the basis of skip tracing. We're here, where you're just going to put somebody's first and last name, business, and the state, find out if it's registered. You want to see the EIN number, see how long they've been in business. You can find the Duns and Brad's number. You can find it online. You can find information's proof of license. Contractors should have license, proof of insurance. You can find that online. Make sure that the person, if they, I mean, well, not online. Make sure the person do have insurance and they can show it to you. If they show it to you, they should be able to give you a copy. If you have to go that far to verify it, you should be able to. Even though they're like, "Dag, she want to verify." Yeah, daggone right. But you should be able to. You can always call them like, "Oh yes, that's the person that we insure," and that's all you need to know. Copies of the contractor's proof of workers' compensation insurance. That's something that you would never think of, but you don't want your home or yourself to be liable if you have workers in your home and something happened and then that party doesn't have workers' compensation. They're going to get in deep, deep doo-doo, but then you may, what if it's something that, your insurance company cover, like person got electrocuted. I don't know. But those type of things. So you want to pay attention to that, okay? Now, let me see. Can I show y'all something on the screen? Because I found something nice, okay? I found something actually on the DOD. I know they like it. She get on my nerve. The DOD probably like, Lashley, get on my nerve. You know why? Because I'm actually reading a lawsuit against the DOD, the Department of Defense. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading it. I'm just reading it. It's a lawsuit from a gentleman called Watts, Mr. Watts. I have to tell y'all this. He is a injury person. Well, I'm on Rumble, right? No, I'm on YouTube, so that's what I'm gonna say. He got injured. He was 28 years old, 23, and I've been doing a series on him. So I think I'm on part 5. But I said the DOD mad at me because I do everything. Y'all know I'm just not just here. I got different platforms because I like to talk about everything. I'm into a lot of stuff. Okay. So I found this and I was like, oh, the DOD. They like, oh, she found our damn website. Get her off of it. But no, this is Department of Defense Office of Inspector General, Fraud Detection Resources. So this was actually really good. Like they get a little, it's just a little briefing on these type of fraud red flags and indicators. Anti-kickback, billing manipulation, base level construction. We were just kind of talking about that. Right here, contract documentation. So I'm just jumping down. Conflict of interest. So this one, contract documentation fraud. Dishonest individuals may attempt to hide evidence of fraudulent activity by omitting certain documents from the contract file or include outdated information. Fraud indicators relate to the contract documents includes but are not limited to a pattern of missing documents or documents with outdated information in the contract. Pay attention to that. That's something great. Because I didn't think about that, just throwing old stuff in there. Like we had liability insurance since 1983. You're like, where's the new one? You just see insurance, so pay attention to that. Contract documents that are altered, backdated, or modified to cover defects. Contract award made without adequate documents or pre-approval award actions. So, okay, for instance, I'm going to give you an example because this is I'm into government contracts, but they give you. I'm going to start teaching you about government contracts next year. But I'm into everything. Okay, I'm going to give you an idea of how to do it. But basically, they give you a heads up through every step. Like, hey, you've been approved to register. You've been approved to, move forward on this process. You've been approved. So throughout the way, you keep your track of the emails, and then you've been awarded. So these are the things you keep together. So if I know a contractor maybe don't want to show you all of the steps, but if they at least show like, okay, then you have one more step to being awarded, and then you see the award letter for it, know that this person contractor is valid. So just keep that in mind. I know there's difficult questions to ask people because they be like, I don't want to ask them that, but you don't want to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars from people who fraudulent. I'd rather ask the hard questions. Let's just get it out there because I'm gonna be not happy if you think you about to fraud me. Because I'm gonna come for you. The buyback team, we come for you. We're nice, but we're coming. Okay, you know that, right? All right. So this, can I share this link? because this was great. The DOD, like, she really sharing our link. Yes. And she talking about us getting sued. Yes. I'm just telling the truth. Okay. And if y'all want that information, it's actually on Rumble on nursing. It's Nursing Unmasked. I have a channel on Rumble called Nursing Unmasked as well. And that's where you'll be able to see that. I'll put it at the bottom for you guys by tomorrow. Don't kick my butt. So let's move on into another term. Let's see, can we find another term on this page? Just so you guys can look yourself. So, defective pricing, cross charge. What is it? Commingling of contract. Cross charge, commingling of contract. Dishonest contractors can submit multiple bills on different contracts or work orders for work performance or expense incurred only once. Okay. I think I know somebody who's doing that too. She's a little weird. She's a little weird. I think she probably capable of doing that. Let me not judge her. A contracting official can facilitate a scheme and share in the profits by writing similar work orders under different contracts and accepting multiple bills. Sources: International Anti-Corruption Resources Center, 2014. Fraud indicators related to cross-charging commingling. It's called commingling of contracts include, but not limited to, multiple awards for similar work are given to the same contractor. The contractor submits several invoices for the same or similar expenses or work under different jobs or contracts. The contractor submits the same or similar documents to support billing on different contracts. It's just basically making copies and changing the name. Similar work orders are issued to the same contractor under more than one contract. Kind of skipping down, frequent errors, corrections, or errors on invoices and other documents, because they'll probably have the person sign it and they get back to the office like, oh no, it was just an error. And then the person didn't know that, it's something else going on with their contract because the contractor changed it. Costs on the cost plus contract are considerably higher than the expected or budget. So cost on the cost plus contract. So basically extra things added on the contract like bolts and screws, $99.65. Like a sludge hammer, just things like that, things that don't belong or things are just excessive on a contract. Okay. So I think you'll understand what's failure to meet contract specifications. These wordings you can use when you need to. That's why I give you these resources, because you can copy and paste this, make it make sense, turn it into your own words and say, this person has fraudulently did this to me, didn't meet the contract specifications under these terms related to this article. See reference, and you reference this article. You see that? Just change the words up a little bit, put it in your own words, and then hit the Federal Trade Commission and say, this is a fraudulent contract from this company. Does that make sense? I'm kind of showing y'all how to do like research papers, because it's simple. You don't have to copy and paste. Like if you copy and paste, it's okay, but you need to change it into your own words. Okay. Make it make sense to you. And this is how I teach people. If you're going to take information and copy and paste it, you probably don't even understand it, but you want to understand it. So change it into your own words and then just cite it after that. I know that's a little bit more work, but not only do you learn how to write and paraphrase, but also you learn how to cite and be more credible. Does it make sense? I start with a copy and paste. I used to do it all the time. Like, damn, I'm take this whole paragraph, read it. Then I'm like, I'm about to change this. I said, no. This part is just too much. It's too sophisticated. I got to put this into my own words. Oh, I don't need this part. Honestly, that's how I put my research papers together. It is not plagiarized because I literally reconstructed the whole paragraph, but it was in different terms and my terms, but it was the content of that paragraph. And then at the bottom, I would put cite. I'll cite the place. I'll cite where I got it from. You see what I'm saying? So you can use that in your litigation as well, or in your pre-litigation, and that's through the Better Business Bureau, Federal Trade Commission, the the Commerce Department of Commerce. And you could report fraud to the IRS. I mean, no, what she say? Yeah, to the IRS. Yeah, like identity theft and stuff. You could identity theft and stuff. I do apologize. You can report that to the IRS. All right, so let's get down. I've been on for a little while, huh? If y'all like what I'm doing, please hit the like button. Please get me into the algorithm. We got good information here. I appreciate you guys. False statements, and I keep showing more and more. Let's see, one more. Unbalanced bidding. Let's see what that is. Oh, Truth and Negotiation Act. Oh, that look good. Truth and Negotiation Act. In 1962, Congress passed the Truth and Negotiation Act, which requires, among the other things, submission of complete and current cost of pricing data of governments during pre-award negotiation or these contracts. So we're going to be talking about contracts. Value over $100,000. The cost of the price data provision of the acts are contained in 10 USC. Key documents in the contract file related to disclosure and cost of the price data. All right, this is something about contracts, but at the end of the day, I'm excited because I'm actually going through the process of government contracts. So I think this one to help me. This is God that sent this to me. All right, let's get to the last one. Unbalanced bidding. Now, this is related to government contracts right here. All right, specifically. Unbalanced bidding is defined as contract personnel's advising or favored biddings that specify line items in the bid. Requests will not be included in the contracts, and the contracted personnel provided a favored bidder with information to meet vague and ambiguous terms in the bid request within the estimated budget. So basically what ended up happening is that somebody working for the government knows contracts or they're giving them a heads up about what's going to go out, and then you don't even see them bid for it. Now, you understand that under contracts. So when you win a contract, a government contract, it does kind of push you up to be chosen for another one because it takes a lot to be going through the paperwork process is a lot, but then also you have to have the requirements to do so. You have to have your background, like for instance, if you HVAC, you have to have some contracts doing HVAC. You may be a new HVAC person, but you have to show that you're able to perform as well. So that goes in the process of choosing contracts, those type of things. So when they cheat like that, they reevaluate those type of elements. Just because you did get a contract don't mean that you're going to get one back to back, but you do have a higher chance. Just keep it real. But if you getting like 1,000 of them, they're like, somebody who knows somebody. All right, so let's see. Contract fraud. This is the Office of the Inspector General. You see, I'll be going to them. I'll be going to them official websites. Let's go. Let's read it. And we're gonna be coming to end soon. I appreciate you guys. I'm really grateful that I came on tonight. Yeah, if y'all can understand what Lashley has been going through, is rough. But I'm praying to it and I'm being positive. It's a lot going on. All right, so let's get to it. Contract fraud. This is like tips from the Office of Inspector General, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, suspected fraudulent activities includes but not limited to. So we're just kind of jumping down there, but we can go to the top. HHS is the fourth largest contracted organization the federal government is spending. So this is almost $5 billion a year of contractual service are supplied pursuant to Inspector General Act of 1978, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Inspector General, responsible for conducting investigations into fraud, waste, and abuse involving HHS programs, including HHS contracts. Okay, so any suspected fraud activity by the federal or state employee contractors, subcontractors, or any other participant on the HHS contracting should be reported to the OIG hotline, Office of the Attorney General. Suspected fraud. Let's get to it. Falsifying information on the contract proposal. Using federal funding to purchase items that are not for government use. billing more than one contract for the same work. Now, this can go under terms of just general contracts. Just keep that in mind. But this is what we're talking about a little bit government contracts, because you guys can do government contracts too. Get the land, you can rent it out. Let me give you an example. Sometimes they need not only just like they need people to conduct programs and do stuff, but sometimes they need facilities to hold certain things for certain times. So if you have facilities and the government want to say they have a convention every year, you have a building, you can pitch your building as a contractor and they'll pay you to use your building. Does that make sense? If they have something new just for the like for instance, like for the pandemic, if they needed to come up with an office of pandemic reinforcement subdivision, and you just had a building and they needed a building space in that particular area, you could be a subcontractor. So does that make sense? That's why we talking about contracts, contract fraud, things like that, and this kind of bridge into government contracts because they talk about the fraud part of it. So even when I was looking at that, I was like, well, this makes sense. We can do two in one because we want to go into government contracts in the next couple of months. I think into the middle of probably October, because that's when things are going to settle down for me. Because government contracts is not an easy thing. Honestly, the paperwork, you need to register for it correctly, have your business correctly. That's some of the stuff we're going to talk about. I'm getting sidetracked, but I want you guys to know that that's what we're going to be looking for. Okay. So let's go here. When contractors of the OIG hotline, persons should provide as much information as possible about suspected fraudulent activity. OGI maintains confidential on all information if requested anonymously for the source. Helpful information includes contractor number, Dunn's number, Sam's number. Sam is the number that you have to apply for first. Okay, we're going to talk about that total amount of the contract. HHS programs, office administration contract, nature of complaint, type of period of the complaint. Now you can use this as a foundation for any complaint you doing. You want to be sufficient, you want to be consistent. If you're about to make a complaint about somebody, some contractor, every single thing, put everything when it was incorporated, everything. Okay. Time period of the complaint, contract information, so the OIG may follow up with additional questions if necessary. Now, this is related to government contractors, but at the end of the day, as I told you, you go to the Federal Trade Commission, you report contractors. Better Business Bureau is just the first step so they can be put on a public platform. And you go on Google. Go on Google and make a rating. It's free. Oh, when you hit somebody with a rating and it go down, oh Lord, their feelings hurt. Just know that just the way that people are emotional about when you talk about them, businesses are too. So use the public platforms to your advantage so they can treat you right. Because baby, I did it. I'll do it. But I do good ones too. Okay. I do good ones too. All right. Let me see if I got avoid predatory real estate listing agreements. Now, this was an article that I found. It's very short, but I want to go into this one. I'm always finding something weird, something a little different. But let's go into this last one tonight. And I do hope you guys enjoyed the live today. The information that we share, you know how we do. While I talk. I don't know what we're doing Friday. Matter of fact, guys, Friday live is going to be rescheduled. If y'all only knew what I had to do Friday. Pray for Lashley that I get through this, okay? It's going to be rescheduled though, okay? But that's why we're here tonight. All right, me on the screen. Pray for Lashley. She's going through it. I'm going through it. Pray for me. Avoiding predatory real estate listing agreements. Okay. This was May 16, 2023 from Hill Air Force Base. Strapped for cash and own a home that you are not ready to sell yet. What if the real estate agents offer you an advance of 0.3 the value of your home for exclusive right to sell your home when you're ready to sell? Something sounds like a good deal, right? Now, doesn't that sound familiar to the contract that I was telling you about where I had someone wanting to buy my property, but while they're in the process of doing a title search, they wanted to list it? And I said, oh no, why would I give you the right to list it on MLS folk, and you don't own it. Yeah, so just be careful. So sounds like a good deal, right? Not if the contract is binding for 40 years, creates a lien on your home, and requires you to pay a 3% commission, 10 times the amount initially paid to you. Even if you don't use the agency to sell your home, or 3% cancellation fee to get out the contract, that will be more than $14,000 for the medium home in Davis County. This is where this was based out of. Now valued for $478,000. That is, and I bet you that house little. The way economy is right now, I don't know what's going on with these houses. That's why we go through the tax lien and tax deed way, because I can't see myself paying $500,000 for a house. I'm gonna just keep it real. If a house is $500,000, the most I will pay is $200,000 through the tax lien, through the foreclosure. That's me. Maybe I'm a cheapskate. Maybe I don't like lien. I don't like mortgages. Y'all know how I do here. If y'all with me, y'all with last year, already know we want to exclude the bankers. I don't even like the way that sound. I was like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with that. Okay, so Attorney General from the last 5 years, this is Florida, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Ohio, North Carolina, have sued MV Realty. Wow. Alleges unfair and deceptive marketing for such 40 years exclusive listing contracts, preying on vulnerable homeowners, including seniors and those who speak English as a second language. Also, I meant to mention is that some of these predatory contractors, not just this person talking about buying a house, but the people who fixing your house, they will put a lien right on your house the first day. So some states has actually outlawed to literally no, you need to have the job done, and these people didn't pay you because these contracts will put a lien on your house for the first day, and like I told you, have 6 months to start the job. Okay. And then don't start the job. Don't take the lien off. You got to file in the court. We went through that, how to remove liens off of like debtor liens. And you can get the debtor to pull it up, to concede it, go down to where they filed it. But if not, you have to go show proof that you paid, or show proof that this is fraudulent, and they go through the court system. So let's just keep that in mind. That's how kind of like bad it can be if you know anything about that. If you don't, the listing agreement charge an elderly termination fee that amounts to at least 10 times the amount initially paid to the homeowner. Further, the agreements are filed on property records characterized as liens, covenants, encumbrance, and security interest. They're trying to attach themselves to these young older people houses any which way. We talked about liens, covenant. These are the things we talked about, buyback team. So if you don't know, please go into where I talk about easements. That video did not get a lot of views on YouTube, and that's exactly where it comes. That's why I was like, it's very important for people to understand easements. And I go into covenants, I go into lien. I didn't really go into security interest, but that's pretty much, like I said, that's you as a tax lien investment. You have security investor. You have security interest. You have security interest, vested interest, but you don't have ownership yet, and then you don't have possession yet. Those are different terms. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's get down to the end. Such filings create impediments and increase the cost and complexity of transferring or financing real estate in the future. Yes, if you have liens issues like that, it's hard to refinance, and then they fake. It's a problem. Okay, so according to the agreement, such encumbrance runs with the land, which means that the contract is binding to whoever might inherit your property should you pass away during the selling of the property. That's what encumbrance is. That's why you want to know what a encumbrance is. Like, that video was very important. Encumbrance such as utility encumbrance such as some people haven't put encumbrance a long time ago and have mobile homes. So you may bought the land and didn't know that they had like encumbrance for that to be used there. And if someone is owner of mobile homes or the successor of the encumbrance, they gonna put mobile homes on your property. Does it make sense? That's encumbrance. So that there could be some problems. So on March 14th, so this company was MV Realty was disgusting. They was going every which way to hurt people. That is not right. And that's why we teach you that, because ain't nobody about to do that to us or our grandmas. On March 14th, 2023, which Governor Spencer Cox signed HB 211, Utah became the first state to enact law prohibiting and voiding such agreements. Specifically, HB 211, including these types of agreements within definition of residential property, service agreements, and bans any such agreement that allows service to be more than 1 year after agreement and signing by all parties. That's again what we were talking about, where these contractors, you won't see that they got 7 months to start your stuff, and you be like, oh my God. And they're like, no, we never get to 7 months. We just need, that's just a technicality. You be like, baby, take that off. Take that off. Because the last realtor I had, she was trying to, they wanted to sit for 6 months, me have a connection to. I said, hell no, we better go to October. I said, 6 months, you can't sell a house in 3 months, then you don't need to be a realtor. She's like, no, we could change it. Who the hell let a realtor be on their house for 6 months? But if I ain't read, I would have been stuck. I was reading. I was like, take that off. Oh no. Okay, no problem. If you don't ask, you don't get it. Okay. So let's just get down to the end. We're at the end right now. It is also prohibited to agree with agreements from certain. It is also, I do apologize. It is also prohibited to the agreement from creating a lien, encumbrance, security interest, and the ability of an agency to file agreements on your property's records. It is prohibited such agreements from running with land, so nobody else can create an encumbrance on it unless you actually did it, okay? No security agreement unless you actually was there, okay? Now, if it's fraudulent and it happened, you may have to undo it because, they're not responsible. I'll be honest. That's what they said. They just record. I'm the recorder, but you're not the verifier. It's so sad. So as I told you, sometimes you'll get you'll be looking at your property, like let's say for instance you're doing your soft title search and you notice that 2000, let's say 1999 to 2000, it was owned by one person, and then it jumped from 2001 to 2023. So you said, wait, what happened from 2000 to 2001? There's an owner missing. There's 1 year totally missing in this agreement. And that right there, if you catch it, you have to fix it because it impedes the transferability of the property. It's sad that you figured it out and other people didn't, but it could be just a simple typo, missing, or maybe the title company has to find it, or you can find it. So it depends. Those are certain things you want to keep in mind. So I hope you guys learned a lot tonight. We've been on for about an hour. This was a very diverse topic on examples of how to spot fraud in contracts. We talked about all types of contracts here, all the way to construction contracts, to just regular predatory contracts, phone contracts. They be lying, all types of stuff. I hope you guys learned a lot. As I talked about, Lashley will not be here on Friday. I'm doing a double. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, I pray to God that everything works out. But what I will be back on Monday, and let's see what we're going to be doing Monday. Honestly, it's going to be a surprise. Okay, we're moving forward into some good stuff. Most likely, I'll probably get into next week after Monday. We probably get back into law because we're doing contracts too. But with law, I want to show y'all again, just separately, how to research law. I'm going to do a separate PowerPoint as well, like about LexisNexis and Pacer, the one I talk about, things like that. So it's going to be a very informative one that's going to be coming up, and we're going to do hands-on. and I'm gonna pay my Pacer bill. I was up there just collecting. I was like, oh, I want to read this lawsuit. Oh, I want to read this lawsuit, and I got a bill, $100. But you gotta pay like you weigh. I got probably like 100 pages, 60, 89. I don't know. I got a lot of pages worth of stuff, so it's probably like, yeah, I probably overdosed, but I like to read. So anyway, you guys have a beautiful, beautiful week. I will see you on Monday. We may have a surprise topic before we get into law, but we're going to get back into law and mitigating risk factors and investing in tax liens and tax deeds. So have a great, great evening, and thank you for being with me. Please hit the like button and join our membership right here.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.